Awesome. So we're live, and today I have the pleasure of speaking with Andrew Bowen-Albo, who is definitely a former college wrestler who's making his return to MMA and other combat sports. So, Andrew, thank you so much for joining us today and chit-chatting with us. How are you feeling as you continue your journey?
I'm feeling great. It's been a great journey so far, so I'm hoping to continue that success.
Absolutely, and I know that you previously did the Pan Am and came out victorious. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, back at the end of August, the Wushu Sanda Association had the Pan American Championships over in California. And so, with that, I went with Team USA and I came out victorious. I won first place. So now I'm national and Pan American and, working the next year to hopefully be the first American to win the world championship. So, have a fight this weekend. It's the next step, I'm just preparing.
That's awesome. We're really excited for you and congratulations on that big win. But taking a step back, I know that you began your career as college wrestling and you stepped away for a little bit and now you're returning again to MMA sports. What inspired you to get back into the game?
Yeah, so me and my son, he's about 10 now. So a couple of years ago, we started watching the old Ultimate Fighter seasons. And so he was watching it and he kind of asked, he's like, "Did you used to do this?" Because he kind of remembers he was about 2 or 3 when I stopped. And I said, "Yeah, I did." And then he kind of asked why I stopped. And, we had that conversation. I stepped away to go work full time and then do some other things to provide for them. And so he started blaming himself. He said that quit.
Mm.
I quit because of him. And so that's just not something I wanted him to have. So I was like, you know what? No. I needed to take care of my health anyways. So getting back into it, getting healthier, and then competing and winning these championships, these are things that I want to show him that, like, I don't want him to carry that burden. So, yeah.
Absolutely. That's definitely one of the greatest motivations that you could ever get in life, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So, as a former college wrestler, and how do you feel that this has shaped your experience and your approach towards MMA? Do you feel it gives you an edge when it comes to competing in the cage?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, everyone has kind of seen the proof in the pudding. Wrestlers, no matter if they're from America, Russia, or other countries, they're coming out victorious. It's the most championship level base that there is. More champions come from a wrestling background than any other sports in the UFC. So, I did train some other martial arts before wrestling in college, but I do have to say that the intensity, the amount of stress that you go through going to class, going to practice, making weight, traveling, those are things that you never lose. I did lose a little bit of my athleticism, getting out of shape, when I took about 5 years off. But when you come back to it, once your body starts getting into it, it's just like riding a bike. So you start remembering, that whole process, you have the dates in your head, you have the traveling ready, you already know how to prepare and how to deal with the butterflies and everything before you compete. So it definitely gives me an edge because in wrestling you're competing so much anyways that all that experience just helps you calm your nerves once you get in there.
Absolutely. And you just mentioned that it was like around a 5-year break. What would you say has been the biggest obstacle in returning, and how do you overcome them?
Yeah, so before I used to be able to do, I was a lot more dynamic, right? I was a lot more athletic. After wrestling, I kind of came out, been competing about 145 to 155 when I was there. And so I was a lot more dynamic, a lot, my body didn't get as tired. I could recover from training sessions. That also has to do with me being younger as well. But the techniques that I could use, the work rate that I could perform at, and the consistency of like my workouts is a lot different now. So things that I've had to do is kind of like learn what my body is comfortable with. As I get down in weight, sure I can start testing the field and going back to some of those old techniques, but there are definitely some things that my body prefers to do. And so I kind of just have to, be partners with it and listen. And so throughout my training and throughout my competition so far, I've kind of just leaned on, this is what my body is proficient at, and it's been working.
Absolutely. That's awesome that you found the perfect thing that works for you, because things that work for one athlete doesn't necessarily work for all of them, right? When it comes to the mental aspect as well, it's like that. Like every like head is their own world. So when it comes to the mental preparation, how do you maintain focus and motivation throughout this journey?
So throughout the journey, just leaning on my faith, I am, a devout Christian, so leaning on that. And then also, being there with my family, it sucks that, this is a selfish sport. It is something that they take pride in me for. They love seeing me do it. I love doing it too. But, time away from your wife and kids, that's time you never get back. So just knowing that, those are sacrifices that they're making, I have to make sure that they get a return on their investment, which is seeing me succeed. You know, they're going to be proud of me no matter what, win, lose, or draw, but you definitely want there to be more smiles, and those typically come with the wins, and so those are the things that drive. I mean, I've been in the sport for a while, not so much competing, but I've been in gyms. I've helped people prepare for camps. I've trained for competitions for a long time, and it's just something that you get used to. You kind of get numb to a lot of the stuff, a lot of the noise. Like some of the stuff I see some of my younger training partners deal with, I'm kind of just like, hey, it doesn't matter. This is what you should be focusing on because everything else is just wasted energy. So that's kind of like throughout this journey and through each camp, that's kind of what happens.
Absolutely. And did you go to camp for this upcoming fight that you have?
Yeah, so I'm kind of trailing off of my last camp. So I got the fight news about end of September. I kind of took about 2 weeks off, recovered, stayed loose, but wasn't like going hard in sessions. And then this past camp was about 4.5 weeks. And so you just kind of take over where you left off from Pan Am's. It's a different rule set, it's a different style, right? So just adjusting to those things, but keeping that the work rate up, keeping the intensity up, and then just kind of knowing what. There's not a lot of tape on the guy that I'm fighting. He has a few fights, but there's nothing that's posted on him. So a lot of it's just like, hey, this is what we know we can do against anybody, and so it's just reinforcing that every training session and just trying to get that work rate up.
Absolutely. And after this fight, do you have any other future goals, either short term, long terms, or specific championships or milestones that you're working towards?
Yeah, so earlier this year in April, I went over to Japan. I had a tryout for some of the promotions over there. The tryouts went well, but for Team USA, I have to stay amateur. So after I made Team USA, I competed at Pan Am's, and then I see that the World Championships is next year. I kind of had to reach out to them like, hey, I still want to do this. I still want to be over there competing. Right now, I do have to stay amateur, so I'm gonna have to stay stateside. I'm not gonna be able to jump on these. But is there an opportunity? They said yes. They said it's fine. So right now, my goal is to be the first American to win gold at the Wushu Sanda World Championships, and then after that, that's when I'm gonna make my run at pro, and then most likely I'm gonna try to go straight over to Japan. But whatever opportunities present themselves, that's what I'm gonna take.
Well, you definitely have your eye on the price and definitely have some awesome milestones and goals lined up. I was also wondering, do you have maybe a dream opponent, a dream match? If you could fight anyone in MMA or combat sports from the past or the present, who would it be?
If I could fight anybody, um, I think that if I could fight anybody right now, honestly, I'm so focused on the world championship. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I kind of forgot it too, but the representative from China, he won it last year. And so everything that I'm doing, the opponents right now that I'm trying to get matched up with and everything, they're all trying to model his style. So he's just the one that I'm so focused on. So when I
Mhm.
think about who I want to fight, that's who. When I was younger and smaller, the one person I always wanted to fight was Dominic Cruz, just because he's from Arizona too, and he has that funky style. But right now, it's going to be the representative from China.
Absolutely. Super, super cool. And apart from that, talking about dreams, do you have any dream brand partnership or collaboration that you like to do as your career progresses?
Yeah, so I would love to work with, there's a couple of different companies out there that have gear. One of the ones that I've seen a lot of people talk about, and I said, yeah, that would be pretty cool. At the boxing gym I go to, there's actually a young fighter. He's professional and he's on Team Venom. So I see them take great care of him. So Venom is definitely one of those ones. I work with Yocal right now, but it's more of just like an ambassadorship. It's not like a signed athlete thing. So, I've seen how Venom takes care of him on the boxing side of things. I think that would translate well across any combat sports that they do. So definitely them.
Absolutely. Venomous, a really, really cool brand. And Andrew, lastly, my last question would be for athletes that are looking to make a comeback like you did after 5 years, whether it's in combat sports or any other sports, what advice would you give them in staying motivated and doing like this comeback?
The motivation is gonna come from within, right? So you have to look at, why do you want to come back? What is it? Like, is it a missed opportunity, or is it that you just want to get back out there? You have to make sure you're doing it for a reason. You can't just, say, hey, I want to do it because it feels cool. If you do that, it's going to go away in a flash, right? You're going to become unmotivated, because there has been obstacles for me. I've had to like go back to think about like, why am I doing this? And then assess that, this is worth it for my reason, right? Because it is hard when you get older. You're, besides health wise, you have so many responsibilities. You have more people to think about. The time is not just your own, your time is shared. And so making sure that you have to make sure that it's worth the reason. For me, it's worth the reason. I've talked to my family about it and I've told them, like, hey, if you don't think it is, then we need to talk about it. But everyone's come to the same conclusion. But yeah, you just have to make sure that your why is worth the sacrifices that you're going to make, because this is not something you can half ass. You have to full ass it. So,
Absolutely. That's definitely some great advice. And Andrew, I wanted to give you some time to maybe shout out your social media, your coaches, your gym, just a couple seconds for you to say anything you'd like today.
yeah, of course. So I'm training out of 10 Planet Goodyear. They've taken great care of me. We have partnerships with other gyms like Zyveth Muay Thai. Their coaches come and help with our kickboxing and Muay Thai program. I definitely work with Team USA Sanda and the Arizona Sanda team as well. They're all taking great care of me. Social media wise, you can find me at Andrew1776 on all socials. And then also I work with two media companies. There's going to be Rising Skull and then also IDC Entertainment. They help gain my exposure as well. But yeah,
Awesome, Andrew. It's been great hearing about your journey from college wrestling to MMA to then taking a break and then doing a great, great comeback. It's truly inspiring. We wish you the best as you continue on your journey and your upcoming fight, and we're excited to see what you'll accomplish next.
awesome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Andrew. Have a great day. Bye bye.